All right, we are live here. We are live here. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm not sure how many of you are watching right now. Perhaps no, but anyway, thanks for tuning in during this holiday weekend for my US viewer. So you are probably thinking, if you click into this video, you're probably thinking, who are they in the video title, right? Now, I want to start by first reminding us of a piece of old news that was published by Reuters on March 2020 in March 17, which was the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. All right. Now, so let's switch screen here and take a look. All right. So now the title of this uh, news says false claim. Gargling with warm water and salt or vinegar will kill the coronavirus. Now, basically, this whole article summarizes words from the WHO and Johns Hopkins saying there was no evidence to show that gargling with salt water could help eliminate the coronavirus, even though there was some evidence that gargling with salt water may help to speed up the cold recovery. So that's what this piece of news were saying at the time. The ultimate message. Basically, is to discourage people from relying on salt water to prevent COVID 19. The message basically ended there. All right. Now let's think about the evidence in medicine means today. What evidence in medicine means these days? Now it means having randomized controlled trials with positive outcomes to support an intervention. All right. Now usually these randomized controlled trials are run by companies with huge financial interest in the interventions. Now we have seen too many of these in the last 3 years. So, mainstream evidence, medical practice basically says people should not follow any medical practices without these gold standard and positive results. Now, do you think there would be a randomized controlled trial for gargling salt water to prevent a brand new disease in 2020? Right? Of course not. Of course not. Not only was the disease new, but there was absolutely no money making in gargling with salt water. All right. Now, but you know what is surprising is that 3 years later, about 3.5 years later, right now, after spending billions of dollars on vaccines and drugs, here we have something new. All right, let's take a look. Now we have a new randomized control trial of gargling salt water gargling with salt water to lower COVID 19 hospitalization significantly than the reference population. Which this is a presentation which was presented at the American College of Allergy and Asthma and Immunology annual scientific meeting in Anaheim, California. This was a conference presentation, so the information is pretty light. Basically, the study randomized 18 to 65 years old with uh, PCR confirmed COVID 19 patients to undergo low salt or low dose or high dose salt gargling for 14 days. Now, the study population was small with less than 60 people, but when they compared this group of people to over 9,000 referenced population, referenced COVID 19 patients, those who did not do salt gargling, they see that only 18.5% of the low salt and 21.4% of the high salt patients were hospitalized. Right. On the other hand, those patients that did not do salt gargling, 58.8% of them were hospitalized. Well, so that's a pretty significant difference. You don't really need to do statistical to see that difference is there. Well, of course, they did it in the study. Now, in a simple word, saltwater gargling worked in some way to reduce COVID-19 hospitalization. Now, it was regardless of immunization status. If you go look into their population breakdown, so doesn't matter if you are immunized or without immunized. Well, saltwater worked. Okay, so now I would, this is some type of evidence. It is small evidence, but it is evidence regardless. I would be eager to see a follow up study like this, which they mentioned that they need to do follow up. But unfortunately, I don't have a high hope for this type of study to gain any popularity because we all know that this kind of study would only throw some drug that are designed to prevent COVID-19 hospitalizations under the bus. And you know what drugs we're talking about if you follow long enough. But how ironic, and I know in the past 3 years, many of you, I'd say many of you, have commented on my videos with comments like related to saltwater gargling, and I did a quick search and captured a few. And let's take a look here. Let me switch a screen here. Uh, Present. Well, not this one. But anyhow, I got a little bit trouble sharing that screen. Um, I don't want to hold you up. But anyway, so I have many comments saying that, people do common sense. Okay, so I'm going to just read it off my screen here. So this person says, I did get, the COVID-19 and I did and applied common sense. Goggling, huge doses of D3 zinc C inhalations, and it was over in around 1 week. How old was that commenter? 71 years old. And then another one says that my approach from the beginning was to throw everything in this kitchen sink at this to prevent this. Why not? Nasal rings, goggling, mouthwash, vitamin C, D3, and etc. and improve health by losing weight. Okay, now losing weight, eating healthily, exercising, washing hand, getting enough sleep. These are all common sense. Those were comments from 2 years ago. I was just reading off my screen here. I just not able to share at this point. But so this is common sense. And unfortunately, a lot of these people with these common sense were labeled as anti-vaxxer back in the days, right? That was so unfair, right? It is just common sense. And if we know, saltwater gargling could help with cold, sore throat, and something like that in that nature, why wouldn't it have a similar effect on COVID-19? Now, here we think deeper. We're not talking about a specific chemical-based mechanisms of actions of drugs to do anything to the viral particle. It is really just a mechanical irrigation that works to rinse out certain particles, regardless of it is a particle of a cold virus or a particle of a coronavirus. It's just do a little bit movement and spit it out. Now, well, having to be fair to say that the claim back in the day said that it will kill. Now, it may not kill, but certainly the claim have some basis to it, right? Regarding using saltwater gargling. Now, traditional medicines like traditional therapies like saltwater gargling is nothing new, honestly, right? We've all heard it since we were very young. It is something passed down from generation to generation when there were no chemical drugs or antiviral. Now, enough of our ancestors survived with common senses back in the day so that we are here today. We're giving this talk. But unfortunately, back in 2020, almost all the medical authorities refused to use common sense. Why? Because it is not what they consider evidence based medicine in the modern world. Now, when we think deeper about how the so called evidence based medicine model works these days, it is all driven by monetary incentives. The clinical trials were run by drug makers, and the data collection analysis were also done by the drug makers. It takes a huge effort, okay, for them to release raw data for other researchers to re-evaluate. Right? We've seen papers, all these authors come to looking at re-evaluating the vaccines, benefits and all these, right? And they find some different story to tell. Now, but unfortunately, the drug maker, they present selected positive outcome data to drug authorities. And what is worse here is that here in the US, the USFDA receive over 60% or even a little bit more of its budget from drug makers. What they call it, that's what they call prescription drug user fee, which is an amendment that was established by the Senate back in the 90s due to the HIV epidemic, and they want to speed up some of the drug approval processes, and they allowed the drug makers to pay a fee along with their applications to the FDA to speed up the approval process. And this act has been renewed just recently through 2027. All right. So in other word, this is a good amount of fee. Okay. So the authority can use the fee to hire more reviewers to look at data and all these. So, but think about it. A drug authority is paid by companies that they are supposed to regulate. Uh, so this is what they call evidence. Now, when it comes to remedies with little to no financial value, of course, there will be no evidence, honestly, because there will be no trials. Now, if you ask me, this practice has gotten way worse in the last 3 years, and it is not just limited to the COVID-19 related products. We've also heard something like related to some Alzheimer's drugs, okay, that it's shown to improve some biomarker outcomes, not necessarily the clinical outcomes, and it was approved even though the advisory committee were objecting that data. Now, I can certainly cover the FDA practice in a separate video, and let me know in the comment if you want to know more about the dark side of the drug approval process here in the US. I can make a new video for that. Now, coming back, okay, to the topic today, the title, who are they? I think that you have the answer by now if you watched from the beginning to now. I don't need to spell it out very explicitly. Just some of my personal thought here, that I think it is really, sad and unfortunate that just because we want the gold standard evidence-based medicines, and we are dismissing a lot of the traditional and alternative medicines, especially during these emergency time. Okay, it's like, well, don't try this, don't believe this. Okay, we should follow what the authority says. um, but think about, these things are passed down, these traditional remedies, some, well, having very little no effect, okay, given that, but there are some that are passed down for generations to for good reasons, and yes, they have little benefits sometimes, but they also carry little to no risk. And in the times of emergency, they could potentially be very significantly beneficial. So, and I think it is, pretty sad that it was discouraged like that, and starting to label people, with using these traditional remedies. Now, anyhow, this is what I want to share this week. And if you are new here, so these days I tend to cover quick and significant COVID updates with live streams like this one. It usually happens on Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific. I know it is very early for the rest of the world. UK will be in the afternoon, in the evenings, right? So you could tune in, and I would usually have a heads up about an hour before that if I have a live stream on Sunday. And I also share small health tips surrounding nutrition, nutritional practices with short videos, 1 minute, and broader drug-related topics. I'll cover bigger topics with 10 to 12 minutes long form videos. But anyhow, so the ultimate goal here is to present unbiased health information for you all to make informed health decisions and learn to live a healthier life overall. And if that's something that you would like to see more, and I hope you will come back for my next video. Well, thanks again anyway for watching, and have a lovely rest of the day. And thanks all of the familiar names and thumbnails tuning in. Robin, thank you. Everyone that is, yes, it is cold. So just to add one more sentence to it. Salt gargling, remove viral particles and all these rinsing. It will help. It has a very good potential to help. I wouldn't say it will definitely, but very good potential to help with all respiratory viruses. So no hurt, no harm to practice that. Just remember, use clean, cool down boiled water. I think that is the good practice. All right. Well, I hope to see you next time. And for the US audience, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and family times with your loved ones. All right. Take good care. Bye.